Carbon dioxide, a byproduct of oxidative metabolism, increases the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the tissues than in the blood. It diffuses out of the cells into the blood capillaries to be transported to the lungs and expelled. Click peripheral tissues. Click carbon dioxide. The three arrows represent the ways in which carbon dioxide is transported in the blood. Click arrow 1. In what form is carbon dioxide transported in the first way? Answer: as dissolved carbon dioxide in the blood plasma. A small amount, about 8% of carbon dioxide, is transported in physical solution in blood plasma. Click arrow 2. Red blood cells contain many pigments called hemoglobin. These pigments are shown as orange dots in the cell. What happens to carbon dioxide from the cell? Answer: it diffuses into the red blood cell and combines with hemoglobin. Move the cursor to the red blood cell and click when a hand appears. As oxygen dissociates from the hemoglobin to diffuse into the tissues, carbon dioxide binds with the amino portion of the protein to form carbaminohemoglobin. It does not bind with the heme ion and thus it does not compete with oxygen. About 20% of carbon dioxide are transported in this form. Click Close button. Click arrow 3. What happens to the carbon dioxide from the cell? Answer: it diffuses into the red blood cell. Move the cursor to the red blood cell and click when a hand appears. What happens to the carbon dioxide in the red blood cell? Answer: carbon dioxide reacts with water to form carbonic acid. Click carbonic acid. What happens next? Answer: the carbonic acid dissociates into hydrogen and hydrogen carbonate ions. Click hydrogen carbonate ion. What happens next? Answer: it diffuses out into the plasma. It is then neutralized by sodium ion in the plasma to form sodium hydrogen carbonate. It is in the form of sodium hydrogen carbonate that most, 78%, carbon dioxide is carried to the lungs in the blood plasma. What do you see at the same time when hydrogen carbonate ion diffuses out? Answer: chloride ions diffuse into the red blood cells. The loss of negatively charged hydrogen carbonate ions from the red blood cell is restored by the inward diffusion of negative chloride ions. This is known as the chloride shift. What would happen when hydrogen ions accumulate? Answer: the presence of hydrogen ion lowers the pH, triggering the Bohr effect in the red blood cells. As a result, hemoglobin rapidly releases oxygen to the surrounding tissues. Click hydrogen ion. What eventually happens to it? Answer: it combines with hemoglobin. What is the significance of this reaction? Answer: lowering in pH would affect enzyme activity and proteins within the red blood cells and the plasma. However, hemoglobin acts as a buffer to maintain the blood pH at 7.35. Which step in the formation of hydrogen carbonate ion is controlled by an enzyme? Answer: the formation of carbonic acid from water and carbon dioxide. The reaction carbon dioxide reacts with water to form carbonic acid is reversible. As PCO2, as partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high in the tissues, the enzyme speeds the reaction forward. A large amount of carbon dioxide is removed from the tissue this way. What is the name of the enzyme? Answer: carbonic anhydrase. Carbon dioxide is transported to the lungs in the form of dissolved gas, carbaminohemoglobin, and hydrogen carbonate ion in the blood. In the lungs within the alveolar air, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is lower than in the blood. Carbon dioxide diffuses out from the blood into the alveolar air to be expelled in the expired air. Click alveolus. Move the cursor to carbon dioxide in the alveoli and click. The three arrows represent the ways in which carbon dioxide is removed from the blood. Click arrow 1. What happens to the dissolved carbon dioxide in the plasma? Answer: it diffuses out into the alveoli. Click arrow 2. In the tissues, carbon dioxide combines with the hemoglobin in the form of carbaminohemoglobin in the red blood cells. What happens to the carbaminohemoglobin in the lungs? Answer: it dissociates to form carbon dioxide and hemoglobin. Move the cursor to the orange dots and click when a hand appears. What do you observe? Answer: as oxygen binds to the hemoglobin, carbon dioxide dissociates from it. Subsequently, carbon dioxide diffuses out into the alveoli. Click Close button. Click arrow 3. A large amount of carbon dioxide is transported to the lungs in the form of hydrogen carbonate ion in the blood plasma. Click hydrogen carbonate ion in the blood plasma. What happens to the hydrogen carbonate ion? Answer: it diffuses into the red blood cell and reacts with hydrogen ion to form carbonic acid. Where does the hydrogen ion come from? Answer: it dissociates from the hemoglobin. Click carbonic acid. What happens to carbonic acid? Answer: carbonic acid is converted to water and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide eventually diffuses out of the red blood cell into the alveoli and exhaled. Summary: in the tissues, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is higher than in the blood. Thus, carbon dioxide diffuses out into the capillaries. The blood carries carbon dioxide in three forms: as dissolved gas, as hydrogen carbonate ion in the plasma, and as carbaminohemoglobin in the red blood cells. About 8% of carbon dioxide in the human body is transported as dissolved carbon dioxide in the plasma. About 20% of carbon dioxide is transported as carbaminohemoglobin in the red blood cells. A large amount of carbon dioxide combines with water in the red blood cells to form carbonic acid. Carbonic acid then ionizes to form hydrogen and hydrogen carbonate ions.